We gotta go live on Facebook.
We don't want to share on our time.
It'll be my turn.
Oh, sure.
Also have copies of the bylaw, standing rules of these.
I'm super scared. My mom was in the hospital yesterday and I've been up all night. You know those cold corridors? Mixed with like
Yeah.
water. Yeah, I drank 2/3.
We're ready to go. I don't know. I just put radio on. I don't know what happens. I just need to test this and then I just it's all I know. Yeah, for him.
Okay. Where are you located at now? We're not up at the. We're still up there. I'm actually working at the state fair. Yes. Been waiting on another job. I know at the time you didn't have to well in Madison right across the road. I don't think he does good for like little state. Like really good. There's some way maybe. One like kind of copy the screen. Yeah, take pictures, maybe put it in a magazine. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So I was trying to connect it with somebody. I didn't hear you. There might be a small friend. Okay, great. Yeah, you were right for the years. I thought about it. You would say, you would see what you would do. Okay. Okay. I'm just like, I'll be very with the Robert's rules questions. Okay, okay. Not called. And my block point is August 6th. I'm just, that's my parents. Okay. Okay.
I don't think we have forum. So I think we have 6 non-board member members here. And other members online, Orange County members. 3, like 9 total.
Yeah, ask her. You want a hard copy? Do you want a hard copy? I have. Is there any business to be had? Attendees, elected attendees. There's 6 members. Non-board members. Oh, no, quorum. You are able to. You got 5 members that are members. Do you attend?
15.
So you can hold a meeting. All you can say, this is the. So discussion ensue. Be adopted, discuss ongoing business.
Announcements only.
If I was you, I would start individual check by saying 15 minutes worth of check and see if oh, but you still should. And then you send a letter, of course, you still have to send it. It's not like to prepare about the things. Yeah. I'm sorry. Feels like you slipped into the oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the main machine. So this is recording. But that's available. No, but the input is the microphone.
Oh.
So they should have.
Good.
The music's coming from back here.
Oh, how do I turn it off?
Yeah, switch to that.
Where's the music? Yeah, so it's if there's something specific that needs to be addressed for
All right. I'm gonna get started here. If someone on Zoom, make sure you can hear me.
Nope.
No. All right, cool.
You just need to speak up.
What's that?
You need to speak louder.
Going to this speak louder. It's really hard to hear, so maybe that means somebody can hear me. So microphone doesn't seem to be on. All right. And from that computer.
Showed that it was perfect. Here, I'll put it. And so volume is way down.
Okay, I can hear you now. All right, so can you talk louder? All right, good. So we do not have quorum, so this would be more an informational meeting. We can't conduct any formal new or old business. Up here, thank you all for coming in person. If you are a member and you're present, please sign in. If you're at home, a second person listening with you, please write that person's name in the chat. So I do have to start off today with some unfortunate news. Our previous vice president, Charlie Foster, passed away yesterday. Was very, very active in the community council and in the community. Everyone, he was real reliable and it was kind of quiet. That meant that when he talked, he really meant it and something really important, and it carried a lot of weight. And he was very dedicated to this community, and so he'll be dearly missed. So it's tough, but all our wishes are with his family. So don't mind joining me in a moment of silence. Honor. We have a card here for the folks in person that'd like to send the center. Okay, I got to hold this thing. This isn't working very well. Okay. So there are not any objections. The treasurer report is out back to be filed as our last month's meeting minutes. Just get right into it. All right, so the fire department is actually here in person, so I'm going to turn it over to them first, so they can do their report and move on. They got basically the schedule as always.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Anderson. I'm a District 4 traveler. I'm detailed with the engine 49 today. We run totals from last month, and then what we got so far this month. For April, there was 149 runs. So far in May, as of today, we have 105. So it's turned out to be a pretty busy month. You know, summer's kicking up. Our run volumes are going to become a lot more. People are out and about a lot more. Just some key things to remind everybody about. I know we're kind of coming towards the end of the spring cleaning. Some important things to do around your house for safety. Dryer vents, take care of those, clean those out, because if your dryer's going to catch on fire, a lot of times it can be prevented with proper maintenance, getting the lint out of there so it doesn't overheat. Also with garages, clearing out your garages, any flammable liquids that you have, old paint, stuff like that. Maybe you can get rid of that responsibly. And as far as storing your fuel, use it stored in approved containers. And any power tools, don't keep them inside your house. Keep them either outside in the shed, preferably, or in your garage. Check all the cords on your tools if you're out there. Our tools are long maintenance tools. Inspect the cords on, make sure they're not frayed. Also, this month, focus is going to be on emergency planning. If you can go to tornado season, thunderstorm season, all that's kind of come along. There's some good tips on FEMA's website, www.fema.gov. /plan/index. And also a reminder to have an emergency plan for any kind of fires, an evacuation plan, a meeting place if you're with your family, a tree in the front yard, a mailbox in the front yard, that kind of thing. Neighbor's house. Another program that we have going on, Smart 911 program. What that does is it provides fire with information at the point of dispatch. So we get it as soon as the call comes in. And some of that there is if there's a non-ambulatory resident in the house, somebody that is not able to get themselves out of their fire situation. Any kind of language barriers, if English is not your first language, we can pull the translator or get a hold of somebody so that we can communicate. Also, any kind of codes that we need to enter, whether there's a lockbox or something for the residents. You can register for that, provide the information at www.smart911.com. And that's all that I have. Our department. Yes.
Do we have a building facility here that's got a battery? Break goes down where people can go, it'll be.
I am a traveler. I'm not usually in Madisonville at the 49, so I'm not firsthand familiar with the area and what kind of buildings provide services like that. Is there somebody from the facility here that knows of something that they would be able to
I think we need to talk about it. It's part of a regional area.
Mhm.
Get down, get that. So,
Yeah.
what if something happens? Plane crash. Bridge goes down. Terrorists going on.
Okay.
If they get into our grid, get only people, especially this heat, 95 degrees tomorrow. I'd be like death.
Yeah, I do know as far as the fire department's involved in that. There's at the administrative level, the fire department and in the city, they have people that's the emergency management system, that's their primary focus. So,
Okay, but that's something that we as a community really need to think about. Reach out. There's I think your fire department's got a generator.
they do, so even if the power goes down, or the firehouse still has power, that way we can get dispatched to emergencies and the communication. It's mainly for communication purposes.
And it's a gas powered.
I believe it's a diesel generator.
Diesel is okay.
Or it's hooked up to the natural gas. I'm not 100% sure.
But there's something we need to think about as a community. And maybe we can use some of these funds we keep giving out there for that.
As the summer progresses, I know the city always puts together, in the warmer months, they put together shelters that people can go to.
Doesn't the city have a hazard mitigation plan the emergency managers implement when something that happens. Like there's already a plan set in place and they have identified locations. They have different policies and procedures put in place that are ready to like, it's like trigger policies. So when something happens, and they practice this, your police and fire practicing. I'd say your citizens on patrol probably have been to some of those trainings. I think the funding is already there.
Yeah.
Actually, Carrie, maybe for a future meeting, see if we can get somebody to come and do like a joint fire police, how the hazard mitigation plan impacts this community, specific to like maybe the most common things that we've witnessed, you know, like a tornado or, you know, some kind of like chemical issue or a plane crash, something like that. And that'd be really cool to involve our citizens on patrol.
We had a bridge down. I mean, you know, the hurricane hit, what, how many years ago? 15 down for a week.
What about the school? What about the big school?
I'm not sure firsthand, like I said, I'm not.
Where'd it go?
We'll definitely make, there definitely is a plan to make sure that we answer those questions for you. Definitely contact. We just so happen that the next person is Officer Brown.
Hey, Carrie, before he does that, can I just make a quick comment for everybody here in the room? So since we're still operating in both Zoom and person right now, we have to use this microphone so they can hear everybody in this room. So if you don't mind to just raise hand, we'll get somebody running over to you with a microphone, just to make sure everybody can really hear everybody on Zoom. No, we should have covered that at the beginning. Apologies for that.
Hey, Officer Brown, when you are ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I'm Officer Brown, District 2, Massville, NLU, as well as Linwood. So the reporting period from April 19th of 22 to 5/16/22 is as follows. We have 1 reported rape, 1 reported felonious assault. We had 5 burglaries, 5 theft from autos, 8 personal thefts, and 1 auto theft. Hello?
We heard that.
Yeah, are there any questions for Officer Brown?
What were those? You said
Officer Brown, can you go into a little bit more detail about those murders that were part of the neighborhood?
So we had a burglary in the 5800 block of Monning, the 4900 block of Roanoke, 4700 block of Madison, 4900 block of Wetzel. The rape took place in the 6000 block of Dahlgren.
He doesn't have his video on, so.
Were you able to hear me?
Yes, go ahead. The question was, what are the ages?
What are what?
what are the ages that are doing the burglary?
We don't know that.
25?
We don't have an age on the suspects.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay, suspect.
Yes, that's the report of crime, not necessarily who was arrested. Are there any other questions for Officer Brown? Like it? Thank you much for coming.
Just real quick, this year National Night Out will be the first Tuesday in August, and it is scheduled to take place in Owl's Nest Park. So we look forward to seeing each and every one of you and a guest or two. Come on down and have a good time.
Great, thanks. If you have a flyer or a social media post, just let us know. We can share that and help like that for the rest of the community as much as we can.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Abby from Meet. There.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Abby. I work at Meek. Just want to share food dates. We are back to doing an indoor model for our food pantry, where we're having folks come in to McCord Hall at the end of the building and doing sort of like shopping lists, kind of like a click list model if you've done that at the grocery store, where you go through a grocery list, select what items you want, and then volunteer shop and bring it out for you. And that is every Tuesday, 9:30 to 12 and 12:30 to 3. And then the last Tuesday of the month, we're doing that from 1 to 6, just having a little bit later hours. I did also want to just make a comment for Meek as an agency, just acknowledge that we did have Meek representation at the Healthy Neighborhoods Committee meeting last week. And we did witness the behavior towards one of the community members who had spoken. And as an agency, we just want to say that we don't tolerate that type of behavior. We don't condone abusive behavior towards any of our community members, and that we're here to support the neighbors. If there's anything we can do for you, please feel free to reach out to us. So thank you guys.
Right, thank you. Not seeing anybody from any of our local schools. Check real quick, see if any of them are online. Not seeing that. We were going to have a special guest today from John P. Parker, who for them, Aurelia Burkett. Unfortunately, she actually got in a car crash yesterday when I drove her through some major surgery. So she was going to come today to talk about how CPS crossing guards, and also help advocate for crossing for John P. Parker in general, both on Anderson Place and Madison Road. A big concern that they have is that a lot of that traffic on Madison Road, they don't pay any attention to the school zone signage. I'll keep you up to date with that. But yeah, if you know anybody interested in a nice, quick part-time job, let us know. We can forward you to the right folks. The same goes with the rec center here. Our pool, we're double checking right now, but I'm pretty sure our pool did not make the cut to open this year due to staffing shortages. The city last week or 2 weeks ago implemented a signing bonus. Urge more folks sign up to be a lifeguard. I believe ours is the 10th on the list, and they only have enough staff for 9, so right on the cusp. So by all means, please reach out. Anybody you know, job over the summer being a lifeguard. What you got for me? For the rec center, yeah, definitely. I can show that flyer. Yeah.
Challenge camp. One of the pickup centers is here, Tommy Parker.
All right, and a nice challenge camp. Let me see if I can show that. Oh, that was live. So we'll definitely have more announcements for that next month as well. That's a great opportunity for kids in the neighborhood over the summer. And go ahead. Yeah.
I brought up the council people here. I'm concerned again with the swimming. So we got a generation, 3 years in a row, that kids aren't going to learn how to swim. Why can't the city fill that pool for 1 day a week, come out and have swim lessons for kids? I mean, not man the pool for recreational purposes, just basic swim lessons. And I told council, you were at the meeting, I told them, why can't the corporate community here in Madisonville step up and add some financial incentive to hire some of these maybe, at nighttime, swimming is the difference between life and death. I learned how to swim at Bramble Park Pool. Lady over there probably knows Bramble Park. Didn't even have a filter when I was there. I mean, that would be child abuse. You put in a pool without a filter. That's my, we don't need to take a back seat Madisonville anymore. We're 9th or 10th, and so we're not, they need to find a way to get us on the, be 9th or 10th, or, that's my, it's life and death.
Yep. We all agree with that. Another question? Go ahead.
Regarding the traffic after school, do the police normally come and help regulate the flow of traffic on Madison and problem areas and students that are crossing?
No, and that's a huge problem. Usually that I believe is counted as overtime from the police department. CPS has to pay that to get them to do any kind of actually manually go out there and direct traffic. Yeah, and that's the part of why CPS has their crossing guard program is kind of reduce that need of hiring a contract manager overtime for them. Yeah, so it's no, yeah, sorry, not a great answer. Yeah. Another question.
So I guess the part of the problem there is the increase in the speed limit at that point as well, because it's 25 through the business district, but the business district ends at Eversole, and then it picks up to 35, like a block and a half before that crossing. So, Carrie's trying to work on it, transportation's trying to work on it.
Yeah, and that's a real big problem all over the city, because to lower the speed limit, the city actually has to ask for permission from the state of Ohio, and they have to actually prove why it needs to be lowered. So we have to actually do the traffic study that will, and they have this complicated formula to figure out what the speed limit should be, and it's weighted to be high. You know, it wants to keep the speed limit as high as possible. The big challenge, that's a big reason why the city historically has not really tried to lower speed limits. Pearson?
I don't know how many of y'all listen to the buzz, but they indicated that the Recreation Commissioner has received at least between 30 to 40 applications for lifeguards. So they are getting applications now for lifeguards.
Yeah, absolutely. That every little bit helps. So hopefully there is some more momentum here shortly. That would be really, really awesome asset for the neighborhood again after 2 years of not having a pool open. Oh, we don't have any other questions. We move on to the president's report. So, last month when we had our meeting, we did not actually have quorum during the meeting. So those. So for the about the traffic study on Madison Road, that is not a binding vote, so we can't really act on that formally. And then the letter of support for MCIRC's grant is non-binding. So unfortunately, that application was already due. So I sent them a letter for their application stating what happened, that we voted in support of it, but that was a non-binding vote because we did not. MCIRC, for their part, they didn't seem to, they understood the situation, and I think they'll be all right. Like, they've got other letters of support from within the community, so they, just make do with what you got. The last week we did a host here at the Rec Center, the Healthy Neighborhoods Committee. Vice Mayor Jam attorneys committee came out, and that was just to hear from everybody about what's going on in the neighborhood. It lasted about 2 hours. So either in person or you want to review it, you can city's official Facebook page, as well as their city cable website. And recently shared that on our Facebook page as well, for you to look at. that's just a great way for us to kind of highlight what's going on in the neighborhood. And it's pretty rare for city council members to be available business hours. Like that's a big frustration, is that you have to go to City Hall and you have to go during the day, during the workday. So it's a great opportunity like that. Council member Reggie Harris, who is the chair of the Housing or the Equitable Development Housing Committee, he had announced that he would bring his committee here to Madisonville for a special meeting. So we're talking with his office to flesh out what that's going to look like, how the format. We'll have more updates for you later. There's no tentative date for that, but that's really great opportunity because 8 of the 9 city council members are on that committee. It shows you how important they want that issue to be. I do have some good news as well. Union Baptist Church reached out to me earlier this week. We have some flyers for some folks here as well as in the documents, because on Memorial Day, Monday, May 30th, they're hosting a special service at United American Cemetery. An actual service conducted by Reverend Dr. Orlando B. Yates, who is their senior pastor. Cemetery will actually be open to the public on that day. There will be a lot of yellow tape, and that is for those areas that have been damaged and are not safe. So if you do go to that service, please be mindful of that. And they will have updates for the community at that meeting. Great to allow people the opportunity at cemetery. It is, as we discussed last week at the meeting, it's not safe for everyday use. So this is kind of a spare, awesome occasion for us, opportunity for everyone. Now we also have the city is in their budget cycle right now, so that was kind of the reason why last week's meeting was so important, right? We wanted the community to have their opportunity. Well, the community has another opportunity to weigh in because they're having some public input forums all over the city. And the first one's going to be here in Madisonville at the Rec Center. So that's Thursday, June 2nd at 6 p.m. here at the Rec Center. Budget should be released at that point, and so people can be able to express their opinion of what they think of that budget. And as a reminder, the budget for the city runs from July to June of every.
Thinking about, are you guys going to go to the meeting?
Make any sense at all. Then we have announcement from Moms Demand Action. You want to tell me? Okay, all right. So our recording secretary, Anna Albeach, she also is with Moms Demand Action. And they have an event coming up in June we wanted to let everybody know about. Go ahead.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Well, this is great. I'm excited to get this announcement. So 3rd is the National Day for Gun Violence Awareness. We're also going to put out a proclamation declaring the day of that. And on Saturday, June 4th, so the next day, Saturday, June 4th, at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're going to have a event at Fountain Square. We're going to have a ton of speakers and some performances. And it's all about shining a light on gun violence in the city. It's really a, thank you for putting that up. It's meant to be like a unifying event, shine a light. We're going to have a bunch of speakers, including survivors, faith leaders, and leaders in the community who are tackling this problem every day. And yeah, everyone's invited. Wear orange. Orange is the color of the gun violence prevention movement in the country. And yeah, we're just really excited. For those in the room here, I put some of these on your tables. For those online, you can see the wonderful slide here. But yeah, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can find more information at that URL at the bottom of the screen. Thank you.
All right, great. I think I have one more announcement from New Life Temple. They actually wanted to reach out about the outreach event that they're hosting June 18th. I did, and they will give away to free box fans for each family that stops by. That's it for my major announcements. To committees, had a big announcement for Tuesdays at the park this summer coming up with our Arts, Parks, and Recreation and Education joint committees. I'll promote that real quick.
Sure. First of all, I should have sent this to you because you can't see it. And then I just figured out how to do that.
I can share it for you.
Sure?
Yeah.
Sure.
Here we go.
Trying to figure out how to make this tablet. Still.
Share that real quick. There you go.
Thank you. Awesome. So Tuesdays in the Park is back again this year. Super excited. First things first, we just found out today that we were awarded a grant for an additional $1,500 for Tuesdays in the Park, which is going to allow us to do some really cool things this summer. So we're going to kick it off this summer with a welcome back jam session with Cobra Kit and an ice cream social. So if you like ice cream, if you like sprinkles, if you like all of the sticky stuff, come out, have a good time. Each week is going to be just like that. We're going to have some fun with some music, some arts and crafts. We're going to have some cool food. I heard that our president may or may not be doing a tour of Little Duck Creek Trail, just FYI, hold him to. So really looking forward to every summer in June and July, with the exception of the July 4th week. We're going to take a break, so nobody's going to be in town. So we look forward to seeing everybody out and about at Bramble Park every Tuesday in June and July from 6 to 8:30. July 5th.
Yep. All right, and yep, we have a special Facebook and Instagram page just for Tuesday to the Park. That way, we're letting your normal feed. So please give them a follow. Yep, stop and share. All right. I'm going to pause here, make sure.
Hey, Carrie, you
Go
have a
ahead.
question in Zoom. Abby, does anyone know if there's any events planned in Madisonville for Juneteenth? I had someone ask about.
That I know of directly, like a directly Juneteenth themed event. Yeah, I don't know of any in Madisonville that are taking place. No, not a great answer. But that is definitely something that we can look into for next year. And that too, so if you have any suggestions for what that could look like, let me know. Be great. For committees that are going on, beautification is still moving forward with their monthly event. That's the second Tuesday of every Saturday. This past weekend, they planted petunias that were donated by Keep Cincinnati Beautiful. They've always got great volunteers. It's a great time. They got free coffee second Tuesday of every Saturday. Second Saturday every month. There you go. Second Saturday every month. Thank you. And this past weekend, they also worked with the Madisonville Youth Council. So that's where we got a lot of kids coming out to help with at Prentice and Wetzel. And speaking of the Youth Council, if you're a business looking in a neighborhood looking for intern over the summer, the Youth Council has a program for summer internships where they connect you with a local neighborhood kid and provide an internship over summer. So if your local business looking for an intern, let us know. If you have a youth looking for a summer job, it's another opportunity for them. And it's a great opportunity for them to learn some skills as well, since they will actually be in a job, helping out and seeing how things work out day to day. All right, let me double check, make sure that was everything. Okay, so I'm gonna skip to our agency announcements. I think we're good for the community. Do you have any announcements for Artsville?
The only thing I have is just we'll be participating with participants in the park. Different events on every Tuesday. We're also going to be, we're kind of finalizing the schedule of Playhouse in the Park for this fall for 3 events that they're coming into. We're also going to be doing one camp to be coming in July. So kind of keep your eyes on the Facebook board. So.
All right, great. Giving them a follow. Ms. Pearson, you have a question for Artsville? Oh, we have public announcements at the end of the meeting. Yep, absolutely. Not seeing anybody from Groundwork or the Children's Home, but I am seeing Harry Henry here from the Business Chamber. If you got any announcements?
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna first say, and by Charlie's passing as well, he was very instrumental in doing our bylaws, and he was very into getting ourselves together. So we're sorry to see him go. We will miss him. From the Business Chamber, we wanted to let you know Mom will be moving in, but it's not going to be on May 20th like they thought. They will let us know when that opening happens. When that happens, I'll let Carrie know so that an announcement can go out so we can go and support. The Cheesecakery, Liz was the winner of Main Street Ventures grant. So when you see her, congratulate her. Placebo Cocktail Bar opened down in MedPace in their compound. So they opened last week. If you haven't been in there, it's a very nice bar. And the biggest announcement that came out, I believe, yesterday or the day before, Looking Glass Hospitality at Madison Square is opening Alera Restaurant, which will be coming in the fall, I believe, 2022 or at the beginning of 2023. Element Eatery is still scheduled to open around August, into the summer. And as always, the Madisonville Business Chamber has meetings from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. On the second Tuesday of every month. Next month, we are having an evening networking event, which will be probably held at the Madison Bowl.
Exciting. I saw a quick hand online from Ann Boland. I believe that probably was a question for you, the Business Chamber.
Thanks. Just a statement. I saw Tony and Austin Ferrari just about an hour ago with an update. They will have a soft opening next week, window service only from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and are looking to open around the 1st of June.
Okay, thanks. Are there any other questions for the Business Chamber? Otherwise, I will move from Bloomberg. Do you happen to have any announcements?
Hi, Carrie. No, we don't have any announcements, but I did learn about Charlie Foster's passing yesterday and would like to extend MCUR's condolences as well and just recognize Charlie. He served on MCUR's real estate committee in addition to his other work in the community and will definitely be sorely missed. So I do want to share our condolences as well.
All right, thank you for that. As everyone can tell, he was a very important part of our community. So I believe we actually can do business now. We did eventually get a quorum, and we do have a quorum. It's like still, which is 15 members in addition to 4 board members, so everyone knows. So we actually can go and redo from last month from the Transportation Committee. I'm going to pull that up here real quick. Means I have to officially call this meeting to order so we can do business officially. I think I'll pull it up here on my computer. Yeah, latest and greatest. It's a good challenge, good test tonight. Screen over here, and you'll be good to go. I'm gonna chair. Presentation. Here we go. Yeah, it looks great. Hopefully everyone can read that.
So I'm just gonna run through this fairly quickly. A lot of you have already heard it, but basically, we all know that current conditions on Madison Road are pretty unsafe. The way the street is designed encourages people to speed. Got a lot of unsafe crossings, especially the one by the elementary school at Madison Anderson. Drivers and other road users. Altogether, those conditions make the corridor feel unwelcoming, and they really divide the neighborhood instead of connecting north and south. We have a good idea of where the dangerous spots are and some of the kinds of improvements that would help, but we need this study to really look at the corridor as a whole and give us the data that we need to start making improvements. This slide just shows crashes between 2016 and 2020. You can see Madison is pretty much a solid red line of crashes over the years. This chart shows crashes with injuries and fatalities. So, see that for me. And discussing with the Department of Transportation and Engineering and have worked out what the traffic study should look like. Suggested that the study area should include Madison Road between Bedpace Way and Camargo Road. And then the scope should include an hourly traffic count, turn counts, speed data, and trip origination and destination data to tell us where people are coming from and where they're headed. Study will then analyze that data to determine which improvements are most appropriate. The consultant that's selected will conduct public engagement sessions to get feedback from the community, and they'll provide us with several design alternatives along with cost estimates, so we can know, all right, how much will these things cost. Those design alternatives will look like draw cross section and overhead view drawing, so you can sort of see what is being proposed. So the ask that we would like to vote on today is to request $45,000 from District 19 for the to conduct the traffic study. DOT will create that scope of work and use your consultant. We have a list of, I think, 7 or 8 that we work with regularly. Will be one of those. With us to schedule and run the initial public engagement meeting. I've got presentation today, so if there are any questions, you can turn it over.
Okay, so we're going to open this up to discussion. Can I get a second just to make sure we're good? Okay, thank you. So we have any questions or comments about this plan? Mr. Poole, I saw his hand up first, followed by Ms. Garrison.
$55,000 study. This got big parking with the little apartments and that. Taxpayers' money. Cities got all that money from the government. Disperse that into whatever they wanted. Well, they pretty much broke that. The city should be doing this, not taking out the tip. One reason saying take something out of the tip. Neighborhood, people in the neighborhood are paying taxes. It's that much. So, this study should have been done before they even built on property. So, I don't know, some people, you do this. Those things before you put the buildings down. But since it's a management bill, they didn't give a CBA. Add to the people that parking behind.
It's about the entire Madison Road corridor from Memphis Way all the way down to Fargo, where we're sort of dead ends or, goes up the hill. So it really, I mean, it impacts everyone who lives along Madison Road, everyone who travels along Madison Road. The improvements that are suggested should help everyone who uses Madison Road.
I understand that. I guess, academic spots that the city gave free, they never gave me or anybody else. But
This road corridor, what we really hope we learn from this is like. Asking today is to spend 45 to conduct this traffic study.
Ms. Pearson, try to handle first.
I have several questions. And I'll try to ask them one at one time. If that's true, what is the urgency to get this through? Because I don't remember any community conversation. Is it complete again? Is it complete? As suggestions? But, well, I mean, that's a huge spread of ground. I understand that. If we do this study, that's the way that you get federal money to actually get the work done. So you're willing to take the 45 out of our tip to get federal money to do whatever you think you need to be doing.
Be part of the study. The consultant that DOT selects will come here and will conduct a community engagement session. And I would like to see them come back and when they have their alternates, they did a similar thing in the West End. Recently,
first bringing in.
Should start with this. The impetus for this came when the School Retirement Services came to the Transportation Committee and said, years ago, okay, Episcopal Retirement Services in Palm Village. Yes. They said, hey, several years ago, there was a study in the community council, or there was a plan to build a side path on the south side of Madison Road. I think this would really help, especially for the residents there. It's a really unsafe section. The sidewalk is narrow.
But that was supposed to happen initially in the first part of the development.
That's certain. I think that case was involved. I've been trying to.
Separate act.
So Transportation Committee started looking at this. Terry was helping us look at it. And we realized, it's still not going to make that section of Madison Road feel safe for anyone to walk on. There's still some highway too fast. It's not going to address safety at Anderson Place and Madison Road for children are crossing the street. And each of these little spots that we know we've had complaints from residents for years about how can we address them. And what they told us was, we want to see a study of the corridor. We need that traffic data.
DOT said they need traffic.
Yes, they said that would be the first step.
So DOT is not being paid.
Project.
That's correct. They don't have.
I guess my concern is.
I did.
Yeah.
Community has input into that. Yesterday, in May,
Well, that was
just I think there's been so much layoffs. I hope that there would be some conversation with this community prior to. That's what we believe, and I know things, but I'm just really concerned again. What little tip we have left, we don't have a lot left. I'm really concerned that we are again. All decisions are made. So I don't know what the urgency is to make this happen.
So I absolutely want to see this all engaged community before any comprehensive plans put together. This is really just transportation committee trying to respond to separate concerns from citizens over the years. You know, Stuart has been it's not been a huge conversation. It's been concerns, it's been accidents, it's been any safety improvements on this street before someone has heard.
I've been here 60 years. We've always had concerns. All of a sudden, it's a urgent concern. And so, I mean, it's like the stop signs and chain or much. That's upside, like it's not even there. I mean, so, but there was a concern last summer, and now all of a sudden it's an urgent need. It has to be done today. So I would hope that you all step back, talk with community, share with us, or even get our input. I'm really concerned that we are again being discounted as us they have since the last time.
Anyone is welcome to come to transportation. I can make it together and address them. So absolutely. If you can't get into those meetings, email me, call me. So.
Maybe this will help if this is what they did for Lim Street, which they did after someone was killed crossing the street in front of their rec center. And so that's part of the urgency is that we know that this is a problem, so we need to start addressing it before somebody gets hurt. So to answer your questions about public engagement, this is what we're asking for. This is option number one. The city came to the engineers designed this, and they came to the community, had a public meeting, and said we have 6 options. So they had option 1, we then had an option 2, and option 3. So the community could see, and then 4, 5, and 6, and then they got that feedback from the community, and then they got that feedback, and they went from 6 options to 3. Then had another meeting to get the 3 options down to 1, and then another meeting to confirm what that option will look like. That is what we're specifically asking for, is public engagement along with it, so the entire community can come out and talk about their concerns. So we had 3 hands up. I think Isaiah was first.
And I totally agree with Kathy 100%. Like Vince said, like MedPace, for one, really does not need any more fees. That's one thing for sure. They already got enough. They need to work for what they got now. And Anderson Place, I ride my bicycle through there quite often to go back to Deer Park and everything. And that section road over there, Anderson Place, they need, like they said, traffic study. Some things needs to be changed, better safe than sorry. And like I said, widening sidewalks is not going to help resolve this issue. What we need to do is, I should say this, have different type signs to encourage folk, if you live on this side of town, go that way to help ease the pressure. Like majority half of people who live in Madeira, they should get off at Seward Road or Kenwood Road. Let folks know to go to Madeira, get off that way instead of coming through Madisonville, because it can get heavy through there. Because I stand up early in the morning when most times we are in the bed to sleep. I'm up around 3 o'clock in the morning in Madisonville. Things ready to run. And it is a real pain in the neck sometimes. That's all I have to say, and I'm willing to work with y'all. Come to traffic study.
Just something that I noticed, it's on topic, but it's kind of like the idea to separate something. I keep hearing this about the individuals being upset about TIF funds being used. It's not that you're necessarily opposed to the study itself. It's just kind of how TIF funds are being used. So this is not like an opinion I'm expressing. This is more just like me giving an option for maybe this body to discuss. It's not necessarily normal in cities or neighborhoods to be forced to determine how they're going to spend budget allocations for themselves, because most of us in communities are not trained on budgetary and finance principles for local governance. With that, there should be participatory engagement, but maybe what the question is, we look at this separate, like, do you need this traffic study and how do we perceive safety in the community for the time being? But also ask yourselves, for a future question to take to your council members is to ask for kind of a improved policy and procedure pertaining to how communities in different neighborhoods are receiving their funding, and kind of like what that ranking and criteria looks like. Because I feel like from my experience, everybody wants to have a voice and be able to express their opinions, but also you want to make sure that the individuals that are supposed to be making the decisions on what gets funded, it's really left to them and for them to help like work with you to make those decisions. So maybe that's a separate concern that you have. You can look at the traffic study as one problem you're facing and then kind of tackle this other. So a really good job with so I don't know, just maybe that's something to consider.
Now, I've never seen anybody complain about the sidewalk on Madison Road. I always walk those sidewalks. But what is the complaint? It's people that took their cars on the sidewalks. Why they want to do sidewalks? Why they want to widen the sidewalks? That's what I'm concerned about. And then down on Camargo, why they want to take a study over down there? Because it's a four-way stop. Why they want to run it all the way down there? Study.
So, yeah, Jay, real quick, the concerns about the sidewalks are not necessarily the condition of the sidewalks themselves. In fact, people driving by on the street are very close to you. And Jay, sorry, I'm gonna let Jay because his residents live on the stretch that we're talking about.
Sidewalk widening issue came up probably 7 years ago, because there are sections of the sidewalk where there are traffic boxes sticking out. And a person in a cart on on a walker or even in a powered cart can't even get past it because the sidewalk's not even wide. So there are big issues with the fact that the sidewalk is way too narrow for the kind of people that live in our communities, both in Madisonville and St. Paul Village. So we were up about widening the sidewalk. I was in agreement. Yeah, church. Yeah. The reason there's an urgency is that they're going to get all this infrastructure. If you don't have a plan laid out for the city, they're gonna spend that money somewhere else. So the urgency is get your plan. So when that money comes in, they're gonna go, oh, these people are prepared, let's start working on this.
I think Mike, yeah, and Jason.
I agree with what you said. Well, it needs to be addressed. I agree with that. But first of all, TIF money, people just realize this is not new money. This is money that deviated from property taxes that go. We're not gonna, the lack of transparency on this TIF money is something. Jesse said out of money. I did not realize that. But what happens is they take this TIF money, it's county taxes, your MRDD money, all these taxes, they don't pay that. That goes into TIF funds. So TIF, I had an elected official tell me that TIF funding is worse than tax maintenance for us as a community. But as far as the sidewalk, we're probably going to have to pass this, but I think we need some help. 45,000 on a TIF fund. How much money is left? Where's the transparency at, Sherry? Who's responsible? And we see a parking study. Is that TIF money too? I mean, boy, I tell you, we're as a community member, we got a parking problem that they expanded. Now we're talking about sidewalks. Seems like it's kind of oxymoron there. They're adding more parking spots and we're going to widen the sidewalk. But I'm not a fan of TIF. You know, I'll do tax payments are bad enough for the community.
Yeah, there's also a website that the city has, which is Cincy Insights, where you can look up the current information for the TIF districts. It is a manual entry update, so there's an automatic update with every property tax for residents to see. See how well. So yeah, you have the parking space listed there as an expense, and it's listed as it would be closed, which is that guy. So this is a public facing website that the city has. Not great, I'll be honest with you. It's not the best thing in the world, but it does tell you what projects the money has been spent on. A little bit of detail, not as much detail as I would like either. And you do have a column. That has not yet spent, and then you have to balance. It's not a great website because it's not telling you, what's really available to be spent, because some of that balance is required to be held to pay off bond that issued against it, for example. So it does not really break into that far, but you do get an idea of what's. I think Jason was next, right? Then we can come back to.
All right, it is helpful to understand the infrastructure federal money is. Yeah, I think I remember from last month that the other parking study, I guess it'll help people that know this study's happening, so they can kind of coordinate to some degree, doing both at the same time. I recall that being brought up last month as being helpful. Well stated.
Yeah, the parking study will come out before, which that's not done yet. The initial draft. The last item they had left before they could bring out their initial draft was a weekend parking count, and so then there would be a window there for public comment for that parking study. And so yeah, this would come after that, and so that allows the community to have that conversation because They might be in agreement what to do, they might not. And that means that we might have to make a trade-off. Because the reality is there probably is no perfect version of this for everyone. And that's why public engagement is so important. So people can see the data, come to their own conclusion, and pick what their preferences are. For example, if you don't really care too much about the sidewalk access, then that can be comment during that period. That you'd rather have more parking or something like that. So I don't think they are like a Venn diagram. Two would probably have some overlap, and there might be some things they disagree on, but that's the important part of the public engagement piece, is that the community gets to decide what the final look and design of Madison Road would be.
We look at this stuff. The tip money been used for the city for a slush fund. $5,000 for this thing. The city is responsible for our safety improvement. And the other day, the city of Cincinnati voted for $1,300,000 for Great American Insurance Company to give them $1,300,000 to fix up their office downtown. Tax free. Homeowners out here can't even ask for a roof. City say beautiful home. That either nobody here can get a roof from that TIF money, a paint job, a dandelion, a statue for your yard. But a contractor can come in and get 20 years on it. Then he's gonna get money. Now, I got a whole bunch of money on big old tax moment. $5,000 for to fix up the lots that the city gave free. Great American's Insurance, I got an insurance license. They got the biggest building downtown. They make the most money in corporation. Do it. So why would the people that got to put money in pay for $1,300,000 to Great American to fix up their office?
We don't control that money. We're talking about Madison Rose.
Well, it's
So
TIF money.
it's that one. We're talking about ours here. Because they're different funds.
And the city giving them $1 million. So
That just trying to say this TIF, not that one. Oh, you want this
they got their
one?
own individual thing now. That
It's
but
separate.
they already rich.
I understand. Let's focus on this community and this. This is our opportunity to be able to ask the city to use the money for something that the residents want.
So Great American can fix up their office with $1,300,000 pay back.
I'm just trying to say, let's focus on this.
Let's put this. You got a house here, right?
I do.
Apply for some money to fix up something in your house.
My house is not in the TIF district.
A tip.
My house is not in the TIF district.
Huh?
My house is not in the TIF district.
Okay.
So,
but you can't. I don't care you're in the TIF district. You can't. That's the problem.
that's what we're trying to do here, is create a project the community wants to use the TIF money to help the community at large.
Help the community, you help Ackerman and everybody else. You can't get no help from it.
I understand, but that's just not how TIFs work, which is defined in Ohio law.
Well, yeah.
Let's try to focus on this particular topic.
Got a study for parking. That need a competent, here we go with. That should have been done before you put all this other powers in here.
I would agree.
That's saying that somebody incompetent and stupid. People that you got down there. So we don't have to be stupid and go along with everything.
Yeah. That's the goal, is to try to find those projects the city will do that we can tell them to do from the TIF. So that we have an option how money
They
works.
should take the money out. They just got money, they boosted it up. Now they're gonna be broke next year. It's an idiot. Now people don't say that.
I would like to see a study up on Madison Road and Stewart. You ever come up Madison Road, turn left on Stewart? Anybody? We have a wide truck trying to turn this. You want to go straight. Oh, you want to go straight, and all of a sudden you have to pause. That can cause a serious accident. So instead of sidewalk, let's do something about Madison Road and Stewart. That's very dangerous. I'm surprised. Huh? That is? I think you gotta talk about down by the school.
Motion.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. There are many points in the street, next to the street. It's a community engagement session. So
They ask someone for that.
all around the neighborhood to come and say, this is what I'm concerned about, this is why, this is what I. Yeah, it's encompassing everything, so we'll be looking out for that. And I'm sorry, I think there was, and I'll get back to you, I think there was a question for that.
Good evening. My name is Carol Starr. I work over here on Watkins Court, as directly across from the tennis court. And my question from all you see has said, I have a and I turn on to Stewart for Madison. Okay. Problem is, my trailer is wide. My trailer is wide land. Or even if I'm in my truck, you really gotta ride the yellow line on the right, pass you or interference. Again, she brought up the question, and that was my statement. Guys, widen that sidewalk, widen the street also.
Yeah, that's actually a extremely common. A lot is that Madison Road, see from as you're coming up the hill into the business district, it narrows after you left that base right before you get to Anderson Place. And this is that's a big question that we asked earlier in this process with the city, because by modern standards, the width of those 5 lanes, the 4 travel lanes and a turn lane, they are too narrow. Generally want them to be at least 10 and a half feet. I believe they're about 9. And so get that all the time because you just feel really wedged in there, especially if someone's in that left turn lane. And so that was one of the questions because the community council asked 2 years ago, previous community budget request round, Anderson Place. And the city's answer was just no, because it would be a massive redesign that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that was just straight up. I asked if money wasn't a problem, if politics weren't a problem, like what would you actually do? And they wanted more information.
The turn light helps, but you gotta make it to the point where you add the light. Turn light. The turn light makes a big difference, but you gotta be out there by that time.
Yeah.
I'm coming up again. I have a 7-foot-wide trailer, but my wheels are on the outside of I'm straddling the yellow line and I'm straddling the white. So if I see that they're gonna turn, I mean, that the oncoming traffic is so close. A lot of times I just stop back far enough, hopefully that the traffic is clear before I can.
Yeah, definitely concerned.
So it seems like a lot of the comments right now are things that will be covered in the study. So I would like to put forward a motion to in discussion and take a vote on whether or not to allocate these $10 for the parking study.
Yeah, so the specific wording of that motion would be to formally ask the city to spend $45,000 from the TIF for a traffic study.
Well, I wanted a discussion and then do that, and yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right, we're gonna double check our numbers. That way we can be transparent and verify that we have a quorum. I know we've got about a dozen people online as well. We do have 15 people, 15 active members. We have a quorum as well as 4 board members, and we do have 4 board members here. And so we currently have 11 active members present for the meeting, so we no longer have a quorum, so we cannot vote on this item tonight. I mean, we can't, so that means we cannot formally conduct any business. So this is. So the motion, this would be tabled to the next meeting. Yeah, so you're thinking of city ordinance, they have emergency passage, like that's not in our bylaws. So for us to conduct business, we have to have a forum. There's no like
That's afforded to local governments, and there's a specific legal clause or if the ordinance allows for certain things, this nonprofits don't have that privilege.
So for next month, can you start sending out something like every week? And at the bottom of the message for the meeting, it discouraged people to come to the meeting. So maybe we need to change that verbiage, because I wasn't gonna come here, I was just gonna maybe sign in on Zoom. You have more people here than tonight.
yeah, it's attendance is we shouldn't even have to worry about counting because it should be so obvious. But because our goal is to try to engage with the entire community to submit.
So the thing is, you can attend in person, you can attend on Zoom. You can't sign off. The minute you sign off, that can affect quorum. You have to maintain quorum. Once you call to order, the quorum has to be maintained for the meeting to continue and for business to be conducted. If not, your meeting is tabled. No business occurs, and you can't swing back and forth, so it can't be a matter of people coming in and out. So you can hold off on starting your meeting. You can call the meeting to order late if you want to have a kind of like a caucus discussion meeting, which is what was here. To call to order, that quorum has to be maintained. You can sign in on Zoom, but you have to stay on Zoom. And if you have more than one person in your household, I don't know how that's being addressed, but before I think you had to state that, and it had to be stated. I don't know if you're going to eventually require like a second device or something, but the key is to make sure that we're being accountable and that everybody is gang participating because we don't want to have actions taken that aren't actually supported.
Can we change our, we vote by proxy? Can you vote by proxy?
Voting by proxy.
Can you vote by proxy?
I would have to probably, we don't have that listed in our bylaws at all. I would have to double check Robert's rules as our backup. But I think for a proxy vote, you do have to do some paperwork as an individual who actually designates.
Change your bylaws, allow people. First way to get around, like you can do proxy.
Yeah.
They do it in Congress.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They do it in Congress.
Yep.
They ain't saying any right or ethic. I'm not saying we do it. But there's ways to-
So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. So we're gonna go to general public announcements. I know we had at least one person here with an announcement for the community. Get loud in here.
My name is Andrew Pearson, and I've always have given block parties up on Champion for 19 years. I haven't given the last probably 4 or 5 years for that new problem. I want to thank Oakville, they supported me one time and the block party. So we're gonna have it this year, August the 6th, upon Champion. So we don't have a lot of funds, but we ask the community if they can donate something. It can help us out a little bit because we've always taken out of our pockets. But we're in high inflation right now. So it's not cheap giving this to the block party. The purpose is trying to bring unity to the community. Just trying to bring people together. We have new residents in Madisonville. Madisonville, the dynamic is changing. And we got some coming here arrogant and with their nose up in the air, don't want to speak, and you know, they are privileged. So that's not the type of residents that we want to move in Madisonville. Madisonville has always been diverse, and we have always got along together. And we just don't want the newer residents coming in trying to divide the residents. So that's the reason why we're going to continue this, make it fun, and it is an adult event. It's not a children event. They normally have things for the family, like what you down at Ramble Park. But this is for an adult. So we're gonna have our flyers out probably sometime next month. And it's August 6th.
Okay. Thank you.
I brought up last meeting, there was a little pantry up here on Madison Road that I kind of took on. It's called People Pantry. For whatever reason, there has been removed. I asked the people with the old Walter Johnson funeral home, what is that, the next house, that they would put that out there. I guess I'm to the point where I haven't got any support. It's a small, what it is, everybody in the community. You want to put some canned goods in there. I think these people are homeless people. They're living on the street. They don't want to go to meetings. But there is a need. Last month, I was throwing it up. Once every 2 or 3 days, it was there. It's gone now. Carrie's found out that we available right to us. I'm going to end up putting down on my 2-family on Plainville. Like, you know, I'm done begging people. But you would think of somebody in this community, a church, that Beaker, they got books that you can't eat books. People, it's great, you got books, don't be wrong. But why can't you put that out there? Why can't you find a place to put this? Nobody's got one. What happens if you put your canned goods, your what's in there? People come by. When they come by, who cares when they come by? But there's a need for it, especially in this economy, this inflation. You know, it may be, you know. So if somebody can help me out, I'll do whatever I can. Gary knows me. I talked to him last night. But if I don't find anything within a week, I'm gonna end up putting it down on Plainville Road down my two family. I got that sign down there that says, support your trains, so that's where my two family is. I'm gonna put it down there, and so if anybody can help me out, for the church, we haven't got anywhere with it, and there is a need, please. So that's what I got to say. Hopefully we can all get out here safely tonight. Thank you.
At the end of the meeting, I will give you some messages, information. He was the person that got the food pantry up, and it was taken down by the homeowner, so he has. He's just trying to find a place to put it, so I would say. So I will give you the information.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. That's great. I did have two questions online that I did not answer. I believe this person may have left. I would like to know what can be done about the airport rerouting their flights over the homes in Madisonville. They fly very low, and the noise and pollution has a negative effect on residents. I'm not sure which airport. I'm assuming that's Lunken that they're referring to. Which I wasn't aware that they rerouted any flights. It's just they stopped flights during the pandemic. But we can double check because Moncton is a publicly owned airport owned by the city. But yeah, I also live under the flight path, so I understand that completely. The second question was, there's a significant amount of traffic going up and down Chapman all day and night. Besides cars parking on both sides of the street and making the road narrow, the cars driving up and down the street are going rather fast and sometimes playing loud music. How can this be addressed? For example, can speed bumps be installed? So the city does have a formal traffic calming program and budget, but for it to begin, the residents of that street have to sign a petition. I have blank copies. We also can email those folks if you're interested. Requires 50% of all the households on the street to at least agree to that. And then they add it into the list with all of the other applicants, and they will do a formal quick. And they will do a quick traffic study for that street where they will have the number of cars per day and how fast they're going. And then they will prioritize all those streets basically on how bad they are, and then just go from the top and knock them out until they run out of money. So that's something in the budget cycle that will be in there because for 3 years, that budget was $0. So this year was the first time that actually came back. So again, any kind of changes like speed bumps or parking restriction changes to a residential street, just get with us and we can tell you how you can start with a petition. Okay, so I'm not seeing anybody else in public comment. That's the case, then I can adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming.